Restored from the 1st of June this year, Indian Railways will start operations of 200 passenger services. Booking for all these trains has started from today. These special services shall be in addition to the existing Shramik special trains and special AC trains. Civil Aviation Minister Hardeep Singh Puri says domestic civil aviation operations to recommence in a calibrated manner from the 25th of May. Says all airports and air carriers are being informed to be operation ready. Standard operating procedures for passenger movement also being separately issued by the ministry. Indian nationals continue to be brought back under second phase of Vande Bharat mission. 1,500 Indians returned from Saudi Arabia, UAE, Oman, Kuwait and Qatar on 9 special flights yesterday. Flights from Sydney takes off to bring stranded Indians back. Cabinet Secretary Rajiv Gauba chairs National Crisis Management Committee meeting and reviews the situation in cyclone-affected areas. Rapid efforts to restore normalcy continue in West Bengal and Odisha. State agencies including NDRF engaged in rescue and relief work. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh addresses MSME sector associated with the defence sector. Says the MSME sector has a big role in Atmanirbhar Bharat and the campaign will provide many opportunities to Indian industry and provide employment to millions. Active cases of COVID-19 stand at 63,624 in India. 3,435 reported deaths, while 45,299 patients cured and discharged. While global COVID-19 cases crossed the 50 lakh mark with over 3,28,000 deaths reported from world over. US worst hit, followed by Russia and Brazil in terms of the number of cases. Namaskar, you're with the latest here on DD News and DD India. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, the railways have decided to further restore passenger train services from the 1st of June for transporting people across the country. The railways will start operations of 200 passenger trains. Booking of all these trains commences today from 10 a.m. on IRCTC website and through mobile app. It's already commenced. It's been a few hours as well. Now, these will be fully reserved trains having both AC and non-AC classes. General coaches shall also have reserved seat for sitting. There will be no unreserved coaches in the train. All quotas shall be permitted in these special trains, as has been permitted in regular trains. However, only 4 categories of Divyangjan concession and 11 categories of patient concessions are permitted in these special trains. All passengers shall be compulsorily screened and only asymptomatic passengers will be allowed to enter and board these trains. Also, all passengers must wear face covers or masks at the entry and during travel as well. No linen, blankets and curtains shall be provided inside these trains. All passengers must download and use the Arogya Setu app for travelling purposes. These special services shall be in addition to the existing Shramik special trains being run for the benefit of the migrants. Now, in a big move, Civil Aviation Minister Hardeep Puri has announced that domestic civil aviation operations will recommence in a calibrated manner starting Monday, the 25th of this month. All airports and air carriers are being informed to be ready for operations from the 25th of May. SOPs for passenger movement are also being separately issued by the ministry. The Ministry of Home Affairs has deleted domestic air travel of passengers from the list of prohibited activities in lockdown guidelines, and which is why this decision has been taken.
Well, I'm very happy that we finally have announced the decision that flights will commence from Monday the 25th of May in a calibrated manner, and that these flights will go to all parts of the country. Initially, only a small percentage of the total number of flights, but depends on the kind of experience we gain. We will increase the number of flights, And this is a decision which was taken, and I want to express my satisfaction at the cooperation that we've been getting from all the stakeholders, from the airlines, from the airports. It's not been a secret. I have said actually that airlines and airports have been ready for the last 1 week. We were just waiting for the green signal, and I think I had also hinted that sequentially it would be necessary for us to first commence rail operation and only then bring in the domestic civil aviation.
And as domestic flight operations are set to begin, Delhi's Indira Gandhi International Airport has in fact made elaborate arrangements for passengers' safety. Each bag will be disinfected using UV ray tunnel, and thorough screening through thermal scanners will be made so that infection chain remains broken. Now, under the Vande Bharat mission, 9 flights from the Gulf region have been bringing back 1,500 distressed Indians to the country in a major evacuation exercise. The 9 flights took off from Saudi Arabia, UAE, Oman, Kuwait and Qatar to bring back these Indians. Now, specifically, 2 flights took off from Doha, one from Hyderabad and the other to Visakhapatnam, carrying 177 and 140 passengers each. 2 other flights scheduled from Saudi Arabia were destined for Kannur and Dammam and then to Bengaluru. Now, this flight later reached Hyderabad as well. As the Dammam flight had 164 passengers, the Kannur flight had 152 passengers on board. Also from Dubai, 2 other flights to Kochi and Bhubaneswar were scheduled. The flights ferried 177 and 148 passengers respectively. In the meantime, the Kuwait-Thiruvananthapuram flight left with 175 passengers and the Muscat-Bengaluru flight had 177 passengers. Another flight from Muscat to Kannur was also fully booked with 180 passengers and 2 infants. With the extensive rescue operation being carried out in Gulf nations, priority has been given to distressed blue-collar workers, medical emergency cases, pregnant women, stranded tourists and elderly people on these special flights. Meanwhile, a flight from Sydney to New Delhi also took off today from Sydney Airport as well. Now, moving on, extremely severe cyclonic storm Ampan made landfall in Bangladesh last night, leaving a trail of destruction both in India and Bangladesh. Last night, the storm crossed over to Bangladesh as the cyclonic storm, about 210 kilometers north-northeast of Kolkata, 340 kilometers north-northeast of Digha. The North 24 Parganas, South 24 Parganas, Howrah, Kolkata, East Midnapore, West Midnapore and Purli Bankura districts have been badly affected due to the cyclonic storm. The government of West Bengal will set up a special task force in view of cyclone Ampan and consider ways to help people in addition to taking stock of the damage. Now, due to cyclone Ampan, 5,500 homes have been damaged in 24 Parganas district of West Bengal. East Midnapore, North and South 24 Parganas districts have suffered the most damage from this storm. Now, heavy rains accompanied by high winds in the capital of West Bengal due to the cyclonic storm caused waterlogging on roads. Trees were uprooted in many places and many homes were damaged. The wind speed in Kolkata had reached 130 kilometers per hour by 7 p.m. yesterday, blocking streets and uprooting street lights as well. Parts of Kolkata airport are also waterlogged due to heavy rains last night. Again, due to the cyclonic storm, many districts in Odisha, including Bhadrak, Balasore, Jagatsinghpur, Khurda, Puri and Cuttack, received heavy rains. The Odisha government has asked the district magistrates of these coastal districts to take stock of the damage caused by the cyclone and to submit a report within 48 hours. State agencies and NDRF are carrying out restoration work of removing uprooted trees, clearing roads and re-establishing lines of communication. And the extremely severe cyclonic storm Ampan crossed the shoreline of Bangladesh by midnight on Wednesday, bringing in its wake heavy rains, storm surges as well as flooding. According to the latest weather report issued by the Met Department of Bangladesh on Thursday morning, The cyclone was centered over Satkhira and adjoining areas and lay at Jhenaida at midnight on Wednesday. The cyclone Ampan had weakened slightly as it crossed over to Bangladesh. Almost all coastal districts of the country experienced heavy rains and strong winds since Wednesday afternoon. In Dhaka, it's been raining since the evening on Wednesday. Under the impact of the cyclone, low-lying areas have been flooded, trees have been uprooted and homes damaged. Many rivers in the country were reported to be flowing above the danger mark due to the water surge caused by the cyclone. Union Cabinet Secretary Rajiv Gauba today reviewed the situation in the cyclone-affected areas of Odisha and West Bengal with the states and central ministries as well as agencies concerned in the aftermath of Cyclone Ampan. In the meeting, the government of Odisha and West Bengal informed that timely and accurate forecast by IMD and advanced deployment of NDR facilitated in evacuation of about 5 lakh people in West Bengal and about 2 lakh in Odisha, which has resulted in minimal loss of human lives. In relief measures after Cyclone Ampan, NDRF currently is moving additional teams in West Bengal to speed up restoration work, especially in Kolkata. In addition to this, FCI will also ensure adequate availability of food grains. Also, the Power Ministry and Department of Telecommunications will assist in early restoration of services in both the states. Reviewing the rescue and restoration efforts, Cabinet Secretary Rajiv Gauba directed that officers of central ministries and agencies should remain in close touch with Odisha state government and provide all required assistance expeditiously. Also, the Home Ministry will be sending teams to carry out early assessment of damages and submit a report. Now, National Disaster Response Force DGSN Pradhan today took part in NCMC meeting on the cyclone and gave insights into the NDRF's role in restoration. Pradhan said that apparently Odisha suffered less destruction as compared to some regions in West Bengal.
आज नेशनल क्राइसिस मैनेजमेंट कमेटी की बैठक हुई कैबिनेट सेक्रेटरी की अध्यक्षता में और उसमें चीफ सेक्रेटरी पश्चिम बंगाल उपस्थित थे वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंसिंग के माध्यम से और उड़ीसा के भी चीफ सेक्रेटरी और उनकी टीम उपलब्ध थी और उन्होंने अपने यहाँ के नुकसान के बारे में तफसील से ब्यौरा दिया है। फिलहाल ये कहा जा सकता है कि अपेक्षाकृत उड़ीसा में कम नुकसान और अगर ज़्यादा नुकसान थोड़ा माना जाए तो वो पश्चिम बंगाल में हुआ है और वहाँ के कुछ जिलों में। जो अभी जो रेस्टोरेशन का काम है उसमें पहला काम हो रहा है कि रास्ते क्लियर किए जा रहे हैं, पेड़ जो गिरकर कटे पड़े हुए हैं उनको काटा जा रहा है, क्लियर किया जा रहा है ताकि रास्ते और आवागमन जो है शुरुआत हो सके।
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has said that MSME sector has a major role in making India self-dependent in the strategic field. Inaugurating the e-conclave on MSME sector associated with defence production, Rajnath Singh said achieving the target of Atmanirbhar Bharat would be easier by the efforts of the MSME sector.
आत्मनिर्भर भारत के लक्ष्य में एमएसएमईज का बहुत एक इंपॉर्टेंट रोल है। इसे कोई, इस सच्चाई को कोई नकार नहीं सकता है। और मित्रों, मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि इंडियन इंडस्ट्रीज की रेजिलियंस और कैपेबिलिटी किसी भी चुनौती से पार पाने में पूरी तरह से सक्षम है। कोविड-19 जैसे संकट हमारे संसाधनों पर इफेक्ट डाल सकते हैं, पर हमारे फेथ और कॉन्फिडेंस को प्रभावित नहीं कर सकते, उस पर कोई प्रतिकूल प्रभाव नहीं डाल सकते। एक कलेक्टिव इफर्ट के माध्यम से मुझे यकीन है कि एमएसएमईज हमारे देश की सिक्योरिटी प्रिपेयर्डनेस में एक बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट रोल प्ले करेंगे।
And Rajnath Singh also said strengthening the MSME sector is his government's top priority, as this sector would play an important role in improving the quality of life of the common man by restoring lakhs of employment opportunities.
सरकार आम जनता को बेहतर भविष्य और फाइनेंशियल सिक्योरिटी देने के लिए मन, वचन और कर्म, मनसा वाचा कर्मणा, तीनों रूप में हम पूरी तरह से तत्पर हैं। और एमएसएमईज को मजबूती देना उसी लक्ष्य तक पहुंचने का हमारा एक ये माध्यम है। और मैं आपको आश्वस्त करना चाहता हूं कि माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी द्वारा प्रेरित आत्मनिर्भर भारत अभियान इंडियन इंडस्ट्री को अनेकों अपॉर्चुनिटीज यहां पर प्रदान करेगा और लाखों रोजगारों को रीस्टोर करने में यह सहायक होगा।
And the defense minister said that the day is not far when India would be known as an exporting country of defense equipment.
मैं आश्वस्त हूं कि आप जैसे लोगों के रहते हुए हमारा भारत लंबे समय तक अब इंपोर्टिंग कंट्री नहीं रहने वाला है, बल्कि अब वो दिन दूर नहीं है जब भारत एक एक्सपोर्टिंग कंट्री के रूप में इमर्ज होकर खड़ा होगा।
Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath transferred revolving fund and community investment fund of 218.5 crore rupees online to 31,938 self-help groups as a relief measure during COVID-19 today. While distributing the funds, the Chief Minister said that the government would soon appoint banking correspondent Sakhi in rural regions. Now, about 6.39% of the total number of active COVID-19 cases in the country need hospital support. Addressing the media on the COVID-19 situation, spokesperson of the Health Ministry said that during lockdown, we've upgraded our hospital infrastructure, including oxygen-supported beds, ICU beds and ventilators. According to the Health Ministry's data, active cases in India stand at 63,624, while 45,299 people have been cured and discharged. And there's +1 because one has migrated as well, and the country has so far reported 3,435 deaths. And the Health Ministry has analyzed the data from the recently released WHO situation report and found that while cases per lakh of world population stand at 62 in India, the figure was found to be 7.9 people per lakh population that have been affected. It was further said that so far India has about 0.2 COVID-19 deaths per lakh population as against the global figure of 4.1. Health Ministry spokesperson further said evidence shows that pre-symptomatic mild moderate cases with no fever for 10 days will not spread the infection. More than 42,000 patients have recovered, taking the recovery rate to 40%. The doubling rate in the country is now 13.6 days. He further said that the main focus is on upgrading the health sector in the country. Now, the Andhra Pradesh Transport Now, I beg your pardon, moving on, the Andhra Pradesh Transport Department has resumed its intrastate services. As the services resumed, people were seen boarding and deboarding buses at Pandit Nehru bus station in Vijayawada. In the Krishna district of Andhra Pradesh, almost 106 buses are being run on 38 roads. In Assam's Dibrugarh, with workers now returning to work after the restrictions got eased, tea plucking work has resumed at full swing. The move has come as the government has allowed full workforce in tea plantations amid lockdown due to COVID-19. With many tea gardens in Assam started working with the full workforce, the industry is back on track as lockdown norms have been relaxed. However, proper measures to curb coronavirus spread are also being followed, with sanitization and social distancing being practiced thoroughly. The tea industry has welcomed the decision taken by the state government allowing full workforce in tea plantations. In Nepal, 17 new cases of COVID-19 have been reported, taking the total tally to 444. According to the Ministry of Health and Population, 15 persons from Jhapa district and one each from Dhankuta and Sunsari district got diagnosed with COVID-19 today. New patients are from 18 to 51 years of age and their condition is said to be normal. There are 397 active cases in Nepal, while 45 patients have recovered. 2 persons lost their lives due to the coronavirus so far in the country as well. Currently, 23,202 people are under quarantine and 380 persons have been kept in isolation across the country. Now, the overall number of global coronavirus cases has increased to 49.68 lakh, while the death toll has increased to 3.26 lakh. The US has so far registered more than 15,49,000 cases of the infection, with death toll surpassing 93,400. It also recorded 1,561 new coronavirus deaths in the past 24 hours. U.S. health officials have also released more reopening guidelines as all 50 U.S. states have partially reopened after a 2-month shutdown. Meanwhile, California unveiled plans to reopen its world-famous entertainment industry next week. In New York City, Mayor Bill de Blasio has offered free coronavirus tests at the city's 169 nursing homes. He also said that nursing homes will provide staff to replace nursing home employees who test positive for the virus. Russia has recorded its lowest total of new coronavirus cases since the 1st of May on Wednesday, with more patients discharged from hospitals than new cases for the first time, which showed that the outbreak is stabilizing at last. Russia now has the second most cases of the novel coronavirus in the world, behind only the US. Wednesday's tally of 8,764 new cases brought the official count above 3 lakh, while death toll has reached 2,972. And as Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin, who returned to work this week after himself recovering from the virus, said the news that more patients had left hospitals than tested positive showed the situation is gradually stabilizing, especially in Moscow. Now in its 8th week of a lockdown, capital Moscow has been by far Russia's worst hit region. Meanwhile, a Russian biotechnology company has said they will soon complete the clinical trials of the drug for patients suffering from severe form of COVID-19. Levilimab, a drug that was originally developed to treat rheumatoid arthritis, has shown good results as a potential cure for patients with a confirmed coronavirus infection, according to the company's website. Now, as Spain has recorded 27,888 deaths and 2.32 lakh cases of COVID-19, with the new fatalities showing to be under 100 a day. Spaniards remain divided on extension of the state of emergency for the 5th time, and the country hopes to mostly lift a strict lockdown by the end of June. However, Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez wants to keep special powers for 2 more weeks to control the easing of restrictions. As public protests simmered over the coronavirus crisis' damage to the economy and tough social restrictions, some people are against the state of emergency being extended any longer. Meanwhile, Spaniards agreed with the government's decision to make it compulsory for all citizens, including children over the age of 6, to wear masks in public as one of Europe's strictest lockdowns gradually unwinds. The Health Ministry order said that masks would be needed for indoor public spaces and outdoors when impossible to keep a 2-meter distance. Meanwhile, in Madrid and Barcelona, requests are coming to progress to phase 1 as both metropolitan cities remain in phase 0 of the government's de-escalation plan. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson said on Wednesday that a program to test and trace those suspected of having been in contact with people who have tested positive for COVID-19 would be in place by the 1st of June. Speaking in Parliament, Johnson said the government would have recruited 25,000 trackers by the start of next month, capable of tracing 10,000 new cases a day when the overall number of daily tests would have reached 2 lakh. However, the coronavirus tally in Britain has reached 2.49 lakh infections, while death toll has also risen to 35,786, an increase of 363 from the day before. In more news from abroad, McDonald's has ramped up its UK operations on Wednesday by reopening drive-through lanes at its 32 restaurants. Having closed all its outlets when the country imposed nationwide lockdown measures to stem the spread of the novel coronavirus, McDonald's hopes to have all its drive-thrus open by early June. The 32 pilot restaurants are all located in southern England. Britain's Cute cars as some McDonald's drive-thrus reopened and people were seen getting their McDonald's favorites. And that's all we have for the moment in this edition of the news. For all the latest, stay tuned to DD News and DD India. Up next, we have Doctors Speak, where you can raise all your medical queries related to the COVID-19 pandemic. Stay tuned.